The funeral hall was thick with incense and unspoken grief. Yamato sat in the front row, staring at his mother's portrait. Then the door creaked open. He looked up, and his blood ran cold. Walking down the aisle was Reina, his ex-wife. A white chrysanthemum clutched in her hand, her face calm.
Why is she here? We divorced 5 years ago. She despised my family.
Whispers spread. Isn't that his ex-wife? What is she doing here? She walked straight to the front, to the row reserved for immediate family.
Number. She wouldn't dare. This is wrong.
And then, with quiet authority, she sat down in the very seat reserved for family.
I can't make a scene. Not here. Not at my mother's funeral.
The funeral began. Reina did not move. The weight of her presence crushed the air from the front row. Yamato tried to catch her eye, but she stared straight ahead, unblinking.
She won't even acknowledge me. She knows this is an insult.
He mouthed the word leave with enough force to carry through the hall. Her profile remained carved from stone. She did not react.
How dare she completely ignore me at my own mother's funeral?
Behind them, a relative coughed. Another shifted, the whisperings growing louder.
I could drag her out, but I can't. Not here. I won't disgrace Mom.
The priest's chanting droned on. Yamato heard none of it, his pulse hammering in his ears. After an eternity, the ceremony concluded. People began to rise, stretching stiffly. Yamato stayed seated, his gaze fixed on her. The fury in his chest was a live wire. Yamato rose, his legs heavy. He started toward Reina, but a relative's hand landed on his shoulder. How dare she, the whispers slithered. After the divorce, so disrespectful.
You won't slip away from me. I'll drag the truth out of you.
She glided through the crowd, her black-clad figure disappearing among mourners heading for the exit. He pushed past bowed heads and tearful faces, but she dissolved like smoke.
Where did she go? She must have timed this perfectly to humiliate me more.
An elderly uncle caught his arm, offering condolences. Yamato had to nod, trapped. By the time he pulled free, the front row was empty. She was gone.
Gone. But she won't leave this building without facing me.
His gaze raked the funeral hall, cutting through the thick incense fog, searching for any sign of her. A flicker of black near the side corridor caught his eye. He strode toward it.
There, finally. She's not escaping this time.
He rounded the corner and found her by the window, the white chrysanthemum still cradled in her hands.
Why are you here? After 5 years, after everything. Why?
She turned slowly, her face composed, yet lined with a grief he refused to recognize.
I had a right to sit there. That's all you need to know for now.
You ruined the funeral. Every relative whispered. You have no right to any of this.
Not here. Later, when this is over. Then I'll explain.
Fine. You get one chance to explain, but I won't forget this.
He nodded stiffly. She walked away, the chrysanthemum bobbing like a pale ghost. Later, in a small parlor kept for the family, the door clicked shut behind them.
You manipulative. You hated my mother. You hated me. This is some cruel game.
You are so wrong. I never hated her. I haven't missed a week in 5 years.
The words hung in the air. Impossible. Yamato's mind refused to process them.
She's lying. She has to be. Why would she visit Mom?
Every Thursday, after the divorce. In secret. She asked me to come and I did.
You expect me to believe that? You are just trying to twist my grief.
She made me promise not to tell you. She was afraid you'd stop me.
If this is true, no. I can't trust her word.
Yamato stared at her, searching for the lie. He found only a sorrow that looked dangerously real. Yamato's voice was sharp. If you really visited, then prove it. describe something personal.
She kept jasmine tea in a tin on the second shelf. Every winter, she'd brew a pot and talk about spring.
That was exactly right. He remembered that tea. Only his mother drank it.
And the back garden. She loved the stone lantern. We'd sit there on sunny days, and she'd tell me stories of your childhood.
The details poured out, each one a needle stitching together a truth he couldn't deny.
Why the secrecy? If you were really there for her, why hide it from me?
Because she asked me to. She said you'd be furious, and she was right.
Furious doesn't cover it. But if this is the truth, it changes everything.
He wanted to rage, but the anger had lost its anchor. Reina looked at him with that same sorrowful patience, waiting for the next blow. Yamato's voice cut through the quiet. You are just trying to insert yourself into my grief, to make me suffer.
That's not. I never wanted to hurt you. She was everything to me. I loved her, like she was my own mother. She gave me a reason to keep living.
Yamato laughed bitterly. You loved her? After the divorce? You expect me to believe that? Instead of answering, Reina's hand slipped into her bag and emerged with a bundle of old letters.
Read them. You'll see she loved me, and I loved her, more than you ever knew.
Yamato stared at the stack. His mother's careful handwriting stared back.
Those are hers. I'd recognize that writing anywhere.
The letters were worn, the edges soft from being unfolded and refolded countless times. He didn't touch them. The space between their hands was an ocean of unsaid things. His hand shot out and snatched the letters. Reina flinched, but didn't pull away. He fanned through them like a deck of cards. Every envelope was in his mother's hand.
Dozens. There had to be dozens. How many Thursdays had there been?
He picked one at random and tore it open. The paper smelled faintly of jasmine. My dear Reina, I hope this note finds you in good spirits. You are more than a daughter to me.
I thank the gods for every Thursday. It is the brightest part of my week.
His voice cracked on the last word. He couldn't continue.
She called her a daughter. My mother called my ex-wife her daughter.
He looked up at Reina. Her eyes were still wet, but she met his gaze without flinching.
Why did she write these? What happened between you two that I never knew?
Reina's voice was barely a whisper, but it carried through the room like a shard of glass.
After the stillbirth, I broke. You couldn't see it, but I died that day too.
Yamato's face went pale. The word stillbirth dragged him back 5 years in an instant.
Our baby, the one we never named. I thought she'd moved on.
Reina continued, her gaze fixed on the floor. I stopped eating and sleeping. I wanted to die. Then your mother noticed. She came to the hospital when you couldn't. Saturday with me for hours.
She told me I wasn't a failure, that my body hadn't betrayed me, that she loved me.
And then the visits never stopped. Every Thursday for 5 years.
I was so lost in my own pain. I never saw hers, not once. I never knew. You never told me. How could I have known?
Reina described the quiet rituals, the jasmine tea they shared, the stone lantern in the garden.
Every Thursday, rain or shine, she'd be there. She was the only one who understood.
And when I couldn't stop crying, she'd hold me until I had no tears left.
5 years. She was there for her when I wasn't. What kind of person does that make me?
He realized his mother had kept an entire relationship hidden from him, a whole other life.
Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't she?
You wouldn't have listened. You were too deep in your own grief.
The words were not cruel, just a statement of fact. Yamato felt the weight of them.
She's right. I would have forbidden it. I would have taken this from her.
He stared at the stack of letters, still unread, and knew he had to know everything. He thumbed through the stack and found an envelope with his own name in his mother's script. The seal was untouched, a letter she had written but never sent. My dear Yamato, if you ever read this, please understand. Reina's suffering is beyond what you could see. You must forgive her. The divorce broke my heart as much as it broke yours. Yamato's hands began to tremble. The paper shook like a leaf in a storm.
She wrote this to me. She wanted me to see. All these years, I blamed the wrong person.
He looked up. Reina sat motionless, tears tracing silent paths down her pale cheeks.
How can I hold on to anger when even my own mother begged me to let go?
A fragile silence stretched between them, weighted with everything that had never been said. He folded the letter carefully and pressed it against his chest, but he did not yet speak. He picked up another letter, then another. His mother's voice filled the silence between them. I fear Yamato would stop you from visiting. He still holds so much anger. Today, Reina laughed at my silly joke. It was the most beautiful sound. The letters detailed Reina's slow recovery, her first smile in months. I hid these visits because I was afraid you'd take even this small comfort from her.
These aren't the words of a bitter ex-wife. This is the woman my mother loved.
He saw Reina through his mother's eyes, fragile, brave, utterly deserving of care. He set the letters down on the table. His hands finally still. He looked at Reina, not with anger, but with a dawning sorrow. A new understanding settled between them, fragile as ash and just as likely to scatter.
Did you really love her? Or was it guilt that kept you coming back?
It was never guilt. She gave me a reason to live. I loved her like my own.
Then, what about us? Our marriage? Was any of it real?
We were both drowning. Two people in too much pain can't save each other.
The stillbirth had shattered them both. He drowned in silence while she disappeared into a depression he never acknowledged.
I didn't see you. I was so lost in my own grief that I missed you drowning right beside me.
Neither of us knew how to reach the other. We were both just surviving.
I am sorry for not being there, for blaming you for something that was my failure too.
Thank you. That means more than you could ever know.
There was no reconciliation. Only two people who had loved the same woman, finally sharing her loss. Yamato rose from his chair and crossed to the window, looking out at the gray sky.
Mother's face came to him, her smile when she tended the garden, the way she'd scold him gently for being too serious.
He remembered the photo from the letter, her arm around Reina, both laughing in the garden. He realized she must have been heartbroken by the wall of silence between him and Reina. Turning back, he saw Reina still sitting, her head bowed.
She loved you, truly, and I am glad you had each other.
Reina looked up, her eyes glistening with fresh tears, but a fragile relief softened her features. The words cost him something, a surrender of the resentment that had defined him for years.
It doesn't change the past, but maybe it can change how I carry the past forward.
The air in the room shifted, lighter, as if the heavy weight of accusation finally lifted.
The last time I saw her, she held my hand and said, "You'll always be my daughter." I'll never forget that.
Yamato listened, the image of his mother's gentle hand wrapping around Reina's still vivid from the letter.
Those words were meant for me too, but I couldn't hear them until now. She gave you what I should have given. I am grateful she was there for you.
We should visit her together. Before the burial, just us.
Yes, I'd like that, for her sake.
They stood, not touching, but the space between them felt different, shared, not hostile.
We're not a couple anymore, but we can still honor the woman who loved us both.
They walked out of the room, side by side, their grief finally walking the same path. The path led toward the grave, where fresh earth and chrysanthemums waited. They stopped before the fresh mound of earth, the scent of turned soil and chrysanthemums hanging in the air. Neither spoke. Yamato reached into his pocket and drew out a single white chrysanthemum. He placed it gently on the earth, his fingers lingering on the petals. Reina stepped forward and laid her own beside his. The two blossoms rested together.
She chose you. Of all the people in her life, she chose to love you, and I am grateful.
I'll never forget her. Every Thursday for the rest of my life, I'll carry her kindness.
The wind stirred, ruffling their clothes and the petals on the grave. They stood in that quiet, side by side, Two people who had lost the same woman, but found each other's grief.
This is enough. Not forgiveness, not a new start. Just this.
Above them, cherry blossoms began to fall, pink against the charcoal sky.
At home, she kept your photo on her altar. She lit incense and prayed for you every morning. She said you were a good man who had lost his way. She never stopped believing in you.
The words struck Yamato like a physical blow. His chest heaved. For so long he had believed she blamed him, but she had never stopped loving him. The tears came in silence, hot trails cutting through the cold air.
She saw the man I could be, even when I was too blind to see it myself.
Reina lifted her hand toward his back, hovering just inches away. The air between them trembled, but she did not touch him. Some wounds are still too raw for contact.
Even in that restraint, there was more care than I deserved.
They stood like that, mourning the same woman, separated by inches and unspoken years. After a long, silent moment, Yamato straightened his posture and wiped his face with his sleeve.
Thank you for staying with her all those years and for coming today.
I wouldn't have been anywhere else. She was my family too.
I have no right to ask for anything more, but for her memory, maybe we can not shut each other out completely.
I'll carry her love forward. If you ever need to remember her, I'll be a living memory for you.
Not a promise to meet again, just a door left open. That's enough.
They exchanged a final look. No anger remained, only the heavy weight of shared loss. Reina turned and walked away, her black-clad figure receding down the cherry blossom path. Yamato remained by the grave, watching until she disappeared. The two chrysanthemums lay together on the fresh earth, pale against the dark soil. When Reina vanished among the cherry trees, the silence rushed back, heavier than before.
She's gone, but what she left behind, these words, they're still here.
He drew the stack of letters from his inner pocket, the familiar touch of paper grounding him. Unfolding one, his eyes found a line he'd missed before. Hold on to hope. Even in the smallest measure, it will carry you through.
She wrote that for Reina, but somehow it feels meant for me too.
He folded the letter carefully and pressed the whole stack against his heart. One last look at the chrysanthemums, now dusted with pink petals. He turned away, his footsteps slow on the stone path, each one a farewell. Behind him, the grave rested in quiet peace, the letters a hidden warmth against the chill. That night, Yamato sat alone in his darkened living room, a single lamp casting shadows. He placed his mother's framed photo on the small table, arranging fresh incense. From his pocket, he drew out the white chrysanthemum, still fresh, and set it before her image. He lit the incense, and the familiar scent curled upward, filling the silence.
Mom, today I finally understood. I am sorry I couldn't see it while you were here.
His voice was thick, and a tear slipped down his cheek.
I'll try to be the man you believed I was, not just for you, but for me.
He pressed his palms together and bowed his head, a silent prayer among the incense. The night deepened, and Yamato remained, the letters beside him like a living presence. Sleep would not come easily, but for the first time in 5 years, his heart felt a thread of peace. Days later, Yamato walked the stone path alone, a folded paper in his hand. He knelt by the grave, the chrysanthemums still fresh from the last rain. He placed his letter beside the flowers, a brief note, sealed with a single tear. Mom, I understand now. I am sorry I couldn't see. Thank you for loving her when I couldn't. He didn't need to say more. The words were heavy, but the silence was light. A cherry blossom petal drifted down, landing softly on the paper. He stayed that way for a long while, feeling his mother's presence in the rustling leaves. When he finally stood, his heart was a fraction lighter, his shoulders less burdened. Without looking back, he walked away, the grave a quiet monument behind. The petal rested on his words, a small pink promise that spring would always return. Sometimes love is hidden in the smallest gestures, a Thursday visit, a pot of jasmine tea. In the spaces between anger and grief, a bridge can form from the ashes of what was lost. Yamato learned that forgiveness was not a destination, but a direction. His mother had tended a garden of secret kindness, and even in her absence, it continued to bloom. Reina carried her memory like a flame, and so would he. Two people, broken by the same loss, found themselves standing on common ground. The front row at the funeral was never about a seat. It was about the right to mourn together, and in that right, they discovered the truest thing they had ever shared. The cherry blossoms fell, and the world continued, a little softer than before. A white chrysanthemum and a pink petal lay side by side, a quiet testament to a love that outlasted everything.